What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a vintage Kenner Star Wars market update. And it's not just Kenner. We've got some nice Palitoy items. And I've tried to span the gamut, not only in terms of loose graded, but I've got some ungraded items. I've got some lower cost items. I've had some requests here and there to kind of include other items that are maybe not like super expensive, because let's be honest, folks, prices have gotten so crazy that it's hard to even fathom buying some of this stuff. That's not to say that I didn't include some pretty incredible items in here, because there are some really unique items that are very expensive, very rare, that I couldn't not talk about. But let's go ahead and dig right in. But one quick thing before I do, I want to say thank you to my Patreon supporters as well as my existing subscribers. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing. Please leave a thumbs up, as it really helps out the channel. Let's dig in. So I wanted to start off with a fairly simple, standard Hong Kong Darth Vader. And I feel like the Darth Vader in general, loose graded in an 85 or above, has really been moving up lately. You know, for a while, this was kind of like, I don't know, in the high 180, 190 range. And very slowly over the last few months, it seems like Vader has been creeping up. Vader is one of the most produced figures, if not the most produced figure there is. And this one sold for $285 with free shipping. And again, it's just a standard Hong Kong Vader with a standard saber, not even a lettered saber. And but it was 85 grade. It was a new case, so I'm not trying to say it's not beautiful. It's a gorgeous figure, but I just couldn't believe that this figure is now up to $285 loose graded. But that is kind of the going rate now, because I found several data points over the last few weeks that have all been around this kind of 260 to 290 price range, and that seems to be the going rate now. Here was a very unique one I did want to point out. This is one that's in my collection. Mine is a UKG 85. This was an AFA 85. This is the PBP Jawa with the dark brown bandoliers. So underneath that cape or that robe is the bandoliers that goes on the Jawa, the actual mold, figure mold for the Jawa. And they can come in a really dark brown paint color. And they were known to be the Spanish PBP figures. So this one was an AFA 85, so very high grade. And that one was listed for $1,750. The actual sales price was $1,500. And for a reference point, I bought mine almost 2 years ago now. Again, mine was a UKG 85, and admittedly, AFAs tend to sell for quite a bit higher than that, than UKG 85s, especially for some of these rare figures. But you know, I paid $550 for mine, so that's almost triple in 2 years what I paid for mine. But that's a pretty crazy price for, admittedly, a very rare figure and very high grade. But I just thought I'd point that one out. This one I wanted to point out because I thought it was hilarious. This was a quote-unquote KPG graded. I've seen a few by this clown who likes to like make these homemade labels. KPG grading, Jawa, Cape, probably something. I don't know what he's saying there. Figure, chewed. And he gave it a 70% in his handwritten thing there. So anyway, it's just really funny. And it was listed for 30 Great British pounds plus shipping, and it did sell. So it's got kind of like a removable case with a fake, I assume, a repro vinyl cape. But anyway, I just thought it was really hilarious that somebody is basically making fun of the graded figure industry. He can make fun of it all he wants. Everyone collects differently. But someone did buy it, so you know, congrats to him on the big sale. Here was one that I thought was really interesting. This was a factory air Death Star droid. It was only a UKG 60%, but what was unique about it is that it didn't have the rivet inside. And I don't know if that was a factory error or if the rivet was removed by the previous owner. It only got a 60%, so I'm assuming that UKG verified that it wasn't like pried out, but I don't know how you verify that. You can see right here, you know, there's a little piece missing. So did someone pull out the rivet, or was this actually a factory error, no rivet as part of the manufacturing process? I would assume that, given that it's a no rivet error, that it wasn't removed. It only got a 60% just because of the paint wear, but I thought that was a really cool item. It sold for $66 or 50 pounds. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I would have liked to have had that in my collection. I wish I had seen that. Here was a Spanish PvP partial COO scar, and most of the PvP figures, they're scarred out COOs, and what that means is the country of origin on the back of the leg is scarred out. You can see here on the left hand leg on the back where it says Hong Kong, all it says is HON and then a partial G, and then you have this big kind of crunch that's been taken out of the back of the leg, and that's what a scar COO is for those that don't know. I've had questions like, what does scar COO mean? Well, it means that the country of origin on the back of the figure mold has been removed by the Spanish factory before they started manufacturing the figures at the PvP factory. And so that's what you'll see for a lot of these figures, especially like the Cantina aliens and a number of other characters that were manufactured at the Spanish PvP factory. It's this scar COO. So this is a partial scar because you can still see part of the Hong in there, HON partial G. And some of the figures have a full scar. Some of them have a double scar, where the scar on both legs for all of the data on the back of the legs are taken off. This one is a partial scar because you can still see part of the original factory mold from Hong Kong on the factory mold. So that one sold for $161. It was a very nice UKG 85%. And that's a beautiful figure. That sold for 122 Great British pounds, or 161 US dollars. That's up a little bit from past data from last year. I don't know what's going on with Boba Fett's. I mean, it seems like every week we have new data that gets more and more ridiculous for loose graded Boba Fett's. I don't know what to tell you except that the prices continue to get more and more insane. This was a standard Hong Kong AFA 85%. I mean, I've got several of these that I paid, a sixth of this price, and this one sold for $1,225 plus shipping. So, part of it obviously is the Book of Boba Fett, I guess. Part of it is just people. I mean, there are so many of these AFA graded Boba Fetts out there, and to pay $1,225 just for a standard Hong Kong Boba Fett is complete insanity to me. But that's what people are paying, and that seems to be the going rate. But again, that one sold for 31 bids, $1,225. Here was a Taiwan Fett, which tends to be even more desirable, but that one sold for a little bit less, actually. That sold for $734. Now, this had an older case. It was graded AFA 85, but it had a little bit of paint wear on the chest, so it might be a little bit overgraded. Maybe some paint degradations going on. I don't know. His head was sideways in the case. Again, it was an older case, so all of those factors probably contributed. Plus, it was in Australia, so all of those factors contributed. It ended at 2:44 a.m. U.S. time. So if you combine all of those factors together, that's probably why it sold so cheaply at $734. Now, if this was in the U.S. and it ended on a Sunday night in the U.S. with an updated case, you could probably close to double that price, is my guess, just given where some of the others have been selling. Here was a mail-away Forlom UKG uncirculated 90. So someone sent in the mailer box to UKG for opening. Straight U90s. What an awesome item. This was the Kenner version, the US version of the mail-away. That one sold for $531. Again, that is about double where this has been selling in the US. But, the straight U90s, I'm sure, played a big role for that. I think the U90 is probably a little high, quite honestly. Although the catalog is not, it's got a lot of wave to that catalog, and there's kind of some folding going on there, some creasing on the catalog. Me personally, I'm not paying $531 US for that, but that was a very nice item. Here was a cool one that was ungraded. This was a Droid Factory, Empire Strikes Back Droid Factory, and it's got the R2 still in the sealed baggies. All the parts and everything are in there. I assume it's complete, but I don't know for a fact. I'd have to go back and look, but it's got the sticker for the three-legged Droid Factory R2-D2 is still intact. Beautiful item. That sold for $499 US plus $25 shipping, mainly because the box was in pretty tatty condition. If that box was mint, you could probably double this price, but it's not really qualifiable for for uncirculated. I mean, not for uncirculated, but for I can't remember the word now. Qualified. Thank you. Qualified grading. It probably wouldn't qualify because of the condition of the box, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know what goes into it. The parts I know have to be unplayed with, which obviously is the case here. You can see the R2-D2 is still on the factory sprue. All the parts are still in the baggies, but just given the condition of the box, I think you'd be very hard pressed. I think you could do like a custom casing, and we've got a few of those at the end of this video that are similar to what I'm talking about, that we'll kind of re-reference this item. But here was a lower grade Luke Hoth battle gear, AFA 75 with the classic, or excuse me, the Clearview case or Clearview label up top. I don't find those very attractive, and this is the older style case, but that's still sold for 95 bucks. That's a pretty good deal on a mid-grade Luke Hoth. To match that, we've got the Hoth Wampa. This was a UKG 80%. And again, as a reminder, only UKG and Collector Archive Services loose grade the Wampa right now. AFA does not do that. This was a nice example, though. The hand paint looked very nice. Usually it's the inside of the palms of the Hoth Wampa, and then the fingernails are the ones where you get a lot of paint wear. And the torso and everything was pretty good shape there, just very, very slight yellowing. But that was a nice example of the Wampa. That sold for $177 plus shipping. I would have paid that all day long. That's a really, really nice example there for the Hoth Wampa. Here's one that you don't see come up often, but when it does sell for big money. This was the Uzay Turkish bootleg of the Hoth Imperial Stormtrooper. This is the Blue Stars, and these are very, very desirable. The price was ridiculous, in my opinion. It was UKG 80%, and this is incomplete. It doesn't have the weapon, and it doesn't have the cape, but it was UKG 80% for just the figure itself. Now, as a reference point, ungraded in similar condition in the bootleg group on Facebook, you can probably pick this up for about half this price, if not less than that. But this sold for 3,500 euros, which is 3,889 US dollars. Again, you can pick this up for less than half that price, ungraded in that condition in the bootleg group. So no way I pay this kind of price. That's a ridiculous price, but beautiful example. And you can see here it says no accessories, Uzay Blue Stars. These were made in 1988 in Turkey. They're very high grade bootlegs. I've got a few Turkish Uzay bootlegs. And a quick note, channel note, is that Five Idiots Talking Toys had me on to discuss bootlegs in general, everything from Mexican to these Turkish bootlegs to Polish bootlegs. We did a two-part kind of 1 hour dialogue type of thing, and I think part 1 is up now, and I'll put a link in the video description to this video to our discussion. It's a pseudo live stream that they recorded, and I think that they're releasing in 2 parts, but it was a fun discussion and very much a beginner discussion on bootlegs and what people think about bootlegs, the positives and negatives of bootlegs, some of the history behind them. So be sure to check that out. Here was a gorgeous Palitoy 30-back Rebel Soldier, Hoth Rebel Soldier. It was graded 90% by UKG, so you don't get any better than this. Unpunched, gorgeous example. It was yellowed. It looks like it has yellowed since grading, but it was straight 90s. What a gorgeous, gorgeous item. That sold for $1,586. Again, the label doesn't list this as a yellowed blister, but it looks like it has yellowed since then. But still, that is amazing. That is a gorgeous Hoth Rebel Soldier. Now here, going back to the Droid Factory R2-D2 that was all loose, I wanted to kind of reference as to how you could have potentially encased it to protect all those items. But this seller, the Muffin Man, had a number of really cool customs that he had listed. This was the tripod laser cannon, and probably he bought this ungraded, or excuse me, he bought this unsealed, so it had already been kind of removed out of the packaging. So he had it encased with the tripod laser cannon, the instructions, all the accessories, and then he put in a Hoth Imperial Stormtrooper to match that, and they were graded 85 and 90% respectively by UKG. That sold for 331 US dollars plus shipping. Really cool item. And here was another one he had. This was the speeder bike that had all the contents in there, and it was graded 90% by UKG. So they're not grading, I don't think they're grading the condition of the box. I don't think it would have gotten a 90% for the box because they had a little bit of wear here and there, but let's see if we can take a look at the back. So let's see here. Yeah, here's the, I didn't show the back, but anyway, you got 90%. That sold for $402. And here was a really weird one. I thought this was kind of strange, but this one was the laser pistol, the DL-44 laser pistol, along with Han, a vintage Han, and that one sold for $499 on 40 bids, 376 pounds. Very cool, but kind of it looks strange to me. I don't know why. Just it's just kind of a strange mashup there. Here was an ungraded snaggletooth on an ESB card back. It looked to be really nice high grade though, clear blister. Oh, I'm sorry, I take it back. It wasn't high grade, and it was graded. This was an archival case. It was AFA 70%. That seems harsh, but something must have been going on with the card because the blister and the figure scores were 80%, but the card score was 70, and it got an overall 70. So the card must have had some creasing there somewhere that caused it to get a bad score. It looked a lot better than a 70 though. That one sold for $531 US or 400 pounds. Seems a little steep for a 70 grade, but it presents a lot better than a 70 grade snaggletooth. That's a really nice looking item. Now we got to talk about this one. Wow, this was a Palitoy Return of the Jedi Slave 1, and it was graded UKG 85%. So it was a mint and sealed box, factory sealed. Palitoy Slave 1. Wow, what an awesome item. Just absolutely incredible to look at. You don't see that come up. Here's the other language there, the La Guerre des Étoiles. And it's got the French language there. Unbelievable item. That was at auction as well. And it sold for $4,381 US or 3,300 Great British pounds. You're not going to see that one come up for auction very often, folks. A mint and sealed box, high grade example. And it sold for big money. Here was a Luke Skywalker Blue Saber, Hong Kong. Really nice example. This was graded 85 by AFA. It was listed for $499 US with free shipping. It sold for $400. I looked it up. $400 US takes home a Blue Saber Hong Kong. I have no idea if the accessories match or if they're correct for that factory. I'm not an expert on those Lukes, and they often are mismatched, both with all three grading companies. They seem to have a problem with matching the correct accessories, but it sure looks pretty in the case. Here was a Luke last 17. I think the rest of these, if not all of these, but most of these are last 17 figures. This was a Luke Skywalker indoor poncho, AFA 85. That sold for $375 plus $20 shipping. Now this is not a last 17, but this was a 65 back B AFA 80 Chewbacca. It was yellowed, but it was a really nice example. Unpunched, no price sticker, and you can see the label there. It looks like it's straight 80s. No, it looks like an 80 for the card, blister 80, figure 85, and I'm not sure if that 85 for the figure score still qualifies or not with the accessory. I can't remember with Chewbacca whether that bowcaster comes in his hand or, just thrown in the blister. Who knows? And I don't know if I really particularly care. It's a really nice example. $549 took that one home. This one was beautiful as well. This was a yellowed 85, straight 85s from UKG. The yellowing wasn't too bad though, and this is an IG88. It seems like there's a lot of IG88s over in the UK for these 77 back Kenner cards. And that was a beautiful example. Sold for $400 US or 300 pounds plus shipping. I would have paid that all day long. Really nice example. Now, going back to the last 17, here was a loose graded UKG 80% pop-up R2 Saber along with the coin inside. So beautiful example. That sold with one bid. So only one person bid on it, but it sold for 700 pounds or 930 US. I think that if that was in the US, they probably would have paid even more than that. So that's a pretty nice example, just given what last 17 figures have done over the last 6 to 9 months. Here was a UKG 85% Imperial Dignitary. There was nose rub, unfortunately. So it seems like it's harder and harder to find that one with no nose rub. It's still got the 85% from UKG, and it's always a toss-up as to what kind of grade you're going to get if it's got that little nose rub on the Imperial Dignitary. Sometimes AFA will still give it the 85%. Sometimes it'll give it an AFA 80. UKG was kind and gave it the 85. That sold for 195 pounds or 260 US dollars plus shipping. Here was a last 17 Pat Blue AFA 80 plus clear blister Power of the Force card back. Really nice example. That sold for 800 US dollars. $800. That's a big number. And finally, we got a Power of the Force Wicket that was graded AFA 85. It was a yellow blister, but the yellowing wasn't too bad on it. Still sold at auction for 921 US dollars or 1,300 Australian dollars. Big money for a high-grade Power of the Force Wicket. That's all I really had for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Some big numbers, really crazy prices overall, kind of double taking with some of these prices, but pretty incredible items to look at. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon. Thanks again for watching.